Hello there everybody and welcome back to Magna Carta 2. In the last video we came back to Dunan Field. We dealt with the thief that has been chasing and tormenting us for quite some time. And now that we're here, we're going to get a start on the Sealed Stones quest with Crocell. Over the course of the game we have been collecting the 5 keys needed to unlock the 5 stones in and around Dunan Field. These big floating stones. Once you have 5 keys, what you can do is go up to it, research it, and it will unlock it. You can do this in any order you would like, and you don't have to do this all in one trip. You can get a key and come and unlock a stone and go back if you wish, but it's a little bit easier to keep track of them if you do them all in one trip, in my opinion. So what I like to do is start at the Reinpolt Ruins, and then follow the path to the ancient tomb, follow the trail of bones to the next stone, and continue on from there. This does allow us to make kind of a nice loop, but there is still quite a bit of walking involved. So here's our second one. And from here, we are going to go to the Thieves Haven, which is where our 3rd stone is. The Thieves Haven is also where we had fought one of Argo's fellow Trewa members quite some time ago on our first visit here. And as we can see, it's crawling with thieves, naturally, and other creatures. And as I had mentioned in the last video, I'm pretty much just ignoring all of these enemies. I'm at a very high level, so the experience to me really is not worth it. However, I have been getting quite a considerable amount of Sid from the enemies still, I find. So if I do need a little bit of cash, what I might do is defeat a couple of enemies, because I do need to replenish my item supply, but I think I'll worry about that later. After our 3rd stone, what we're going to do is make a loop back, and we are going to return to the Dunan Rest area, which is where the Obby's transport fleet is. This is where you will come in when you warp into the area. And we are going to hang a left once we get out of the area here and head out towards Lanoara Lake, which is going to be our 4th stone, and by far the one that is out of the way the most. A bit of a pain to get to. This is also where we had found one of the altars for the Royal Seals quest. I think it was actually the first altar that we found, where we had originally initiated the quest so very long ago. It has been quite some time since we've had to really come back to this area. But I kind of like revisiting it for all of the nostalgia. And we can see the stone in the background there. It's up on the platform and to the right. And after this, we will have only 1 stone left. Another reason that I choose to do it in this order is because I find for some reason that the 5th stone for me doesn't tend to show up until I've activated all of the other stones. This might be something in my experience, or maybe I've just overlooked it, but perhaps it is also something that was intended. I'm not entirely sure, but I've always just done it this way because to me it makes the most sense. You're able to do a relatively easy loop around the area, and I don't run into problems with the last one not showing up for one reason or another. So the last stone is going to be out towards the entrance to Dunan Hill. So not a very far walk from where we are now. And once we activate that stone, we are actually going to have to return to Lanoara Lake. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons that you can't do the Lanoara Lake stone last, is because you have to be there once you have activated the last stone.
I avoided it!
I've also chosen to take my party of girls out because they're a lot faster, or at least they feel a lot faster. And so when I'm running around on the map, it feels like I'm making a lot more progress, and they're also a lot quicker, so there's a higher chance that when an enemy goes to hit me, their attacks will actually miss me and I'll be able to get off scot-free. So if I pull up the map, we can see here that the stone is in between the entrances to Dunan Hill and Reinpolt Basin. And once you've activated all 5 of them, a roaring sound will come from Lanoara Lake, which is obviously going to be our cue to go back there and check it out. If we remember, Keneros, the guy that had given us the initial quest, had told us that the stones were sealing away a golem. And it was only after we defeated the golem that we would be able to return to him, and Crocell would be able to get the family heirloom that he has been holding on to. So once we've defeated the golem, we can return to the Cave of the Hermit and claim the prize. So this side quest is very involved. You start it quite early on, and the keys are scattered in various places in the world, and you're not able to actually finish it up until the very last point of the game. And what I will try to do is post a couple of additional details in the description for those of you who may have forgotten a couple of steps in the quest, or just as a refresher. Alternatively, what you can do is you can check in your cube mail, and there should be a message from Keneros that will tell you a little bit about the quests, about the keys, about the stones, and the locations, which is this email here. It'll tell you where the keys are, where to find them, and then once you've done that, you just come back and unlock them. And here is the golem waiting for us as well. So this enemy's kind of neat. It's a unique enemy. Pretty tough. Mostly just tough physically. It hits pretty hard. But other than that, there's really nothing to worry about, other than it being strong and a little bit defensible. Your team at this point should be able to pretty easily handle it, no problem. Especially if you throw a couple of chains its way. And I am doing this with my weaker party. My party of girls is a little bit weaker than if I were to use Argo, Judo, and Crocell, but I really shouldn't have any problem with this. They're all long-range attackers, which should make it a little bit more difficult for the golem to actually hit us. And then this way they also stay out of danger. I also kind of like that the golem is red. It sort of focuses around that whole theme of Crocell and fire magic and whatnot. Neat design. It would have been kind of a bummer if we got to the end of this quest and it was just some generic enemy that we've seen before. Those kinds of attention to detail I really like, when they add extra little things in like that. And after that, a very easy defeat, we can go back and get Crocell's prize. Now that enemy provided a fairly low amount of experience. I think I only got about 300. And I'm not sure if that's just based on the quest or if that's based on my level. I was looking back at my first playthrough of this game, and I'm actually a higher level than I was when I finished the game the first time. So that may mean that I'm just getting low experience because my level is so high, but I'm not too sure. I just thought I would point that out in case those numbers vary in your playthrough if you are playing along. And And it is a fairly short walk back to the Cave of the Hermit. I'm gonna get out of danger, and then what I'll probably do is switch back to Crocell. I'm not sure if I actually need to speak to the guy as Crocell in order to finish it, but I might as well just in case, especially because this is, you know, sort of his quest. This quest involves a lot of his backstory and his family and whatnot. So the hermit should be waiting for us. You could almost be mistaken for a grown man, boy. You probably matured even more as you killed that giant that had been locked away. The Reedon family treasure. Maybe you're strong enough to handle them now. And we get a fireball weapon for Crocell, as well as 5,000 sweet experience that we could use. And that ends that quest. If you don't have the DLC weapons, that is probably the strongest weapon for Crocell up to this point. So I would recommend switching that out and putting all the enhancements on it if you are using a weaker weapon, because it is quite good, considering that it is an heirloom and it took us a damn long time to get. I would certainly hope that it was a good weapon. And that weapon is also needed for 100% weapon completion. If you are keeping track of all the weapons, you can now cross that one off of your list. And from here, we can now move on. I should also speak to the Obvies and see what kind of materials I can get, because I do need some more items. I blew through a lot of healing items when I was fighting Alex and Raoud, and he's got lots of stuff here for me to buy, and I have a lot of money, as you can see, just from all of the fighting that I've been doing. And that should be the same if you've been playing along. That should be good for now. From here, what I think I'm going to do is I am going to head right into Belfort. So this fleet will take us right into the city, and this is a very, very good location for what we are going to do. There are two things to do in the area. The first is to visit the Sentinel Laboratory, and the second is to reclaim all of the Blue Moon Trewa items that the Blackhorn Trewa have stole. There are 3 locations of Blackhorn Trewa in the area, so again, we are going to have to do a little bit of walking around, a little bit of fighting and whatnot, so I think I will also save that for the next video. That way we can get everything we need to get done in Belfort done in one video, and then after that we can head off to Kotamari, which will be our final area before heading to Lestrada. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you next time.